Good morning, good morning. Let's see what's going on here. This will open up soon, won't it? What if I go like this? Yeah. Nice little commercial happening here. Well, I thought I would just hang out. Hello. Good morning to all of you. Good morning. It is 5:15, is that right? 5:15 in the morning. Boy, have I been sleeping. I have been sleeping. Look how comfy I am. I thought you guys might want to hang out with me, put on your comfy clothes, get up and have a cup of coffee. Isn't this the cutest blankie? Is this not the cutest blankie? I love it. And it's my favorite color. Dusty rose. Dusty rose. Oops. Am I freezing? Let me make sure that system setting. Let me make sure my Wi-Fi is okay. I should be okay. Oh, what's going on here? Yep, I'm okay. Can you guys hear me okay? Hi, Canada. You're in the Canada prairies. Wow, Jen, that's fantastic. How are you guys doing? Hi, Mitch, Ro, Annika, Laughlin, Karen. Hi, Wendy. Good to see you here. Thank you for your membership and your love and support, Wendy Bird. Sherry Witt, hello. Mara, Mara, good morning. Hello, John Silverthorne. Mora, Arnetta Parada, good morning to you from Maryland. So tell me where you're coming from. Hi to Sherry Witt from beautiful Ohio. I'm just getting over a really bad bug, which I got flying to Stockholm. And yet, I was sick the whole time I was in Stockholm. I got the norovirus. But you know what? It was a good vacation. And I know that seems like a strange thing to say because I was in bed vomiting and couldn't get food down for a week. So I turned it into a healing session where I had no clients, so I didn't have to worry about getting to clients. I had no patients. And instead, I said, this is a wonderful opportunity for me to just unplug. And I kept getting buckets of ice and drinking massive amounts of ice water when I could finally get water down and sitting in ice. I had so much internal heat that I was doing cold showers and just rubbing ice all over me. I was doing like the Wim Hof method, alternating hot and cold and just fasting on ice water. And there's a really interesting place that I don't know if any of you know about it. It's called True North. And that might be a fun thing for us to talk about, which is I wanted to share, as many of you know, I'm a naturopathic doctor. I wanted to share with you some knowledge that I have been collecting over the years about how we heal our life by doing less. And this is based on naturopathic principles. I've known I was the calling. When you become a naturopathic doctor, it's a calling. Just like when you become a medical doctor, it's a beautiful calling to be a doctor, and it's a beautiful calling to serve you as a doctor. And sometimes as a doctor, I forget how to heal myself. I get, like the rest of you, I get wrapped up in my own head and I forget basic naturopathic principles. But say you're sick and you're not feeling well. The first thing we do is we do nothing. If you're sick, in naturopathic principles, as the doctor, what am I going to do for my patient? Well, doctor, I'm sick. Well, the first thing I recommend is to do nothing, because the body usually heals itself in time, right? So part of doing nothing is to remove the things that may be causing you unhappiness. Sometimes social media can be toxic. And so doing nothing sometimes means we have to remove certain images from our lives, that the news, etc. So for 5 days, I was limiting my social media. First off, I was too sick to even look it gave me a headache to look at my computer, right? So I literally had to sit and do nothing and meditate, right? The other thing is that most of us are sick because we are overfed. So part of doing nothing is that we often tell people to remove food, that we are stronger than we realize, and that an extended fast is one of the best things we can do when we're sick, particularly if you can't get food down. Your body is telling you to do nothing. It's telling you to stop everything and do nothing. And when we see an animal is sick, the animal will go to the river and they will drink water and they will do nothing. They won't be sitting on their tablets or on their iPhones. That'd be kind of cool, seeing a wild animal on an iPhone. I don't know. No, they sit by the river and they rest and they fast on cool water, right? And so one of the first things we do to heal ourselves when we instruct people who are suffering is to remove everything, particularly if the things in your life are causing you unhappiness. So there is a place that I wanted to introduce you to, which is based on these naturopathic principles, and it's called True North. True North. And it's a place where you go and you fast, water fasting only, but you could also do a partial fast depending upon your state of health. It's an amazing place, and many naturopathic doctors have done their internships and residencies at True North. And they have found that the people who suffer from chronic illness, obesity, etc., don't go back to being sick after they go to a place like True North. And what True North does is it removes the cause of the illness. They have a clinic with doctors there available to run labs. They have vegan food available if you're doing a partial fast and you just want to cleanse with vegan food. Now, many people will start with the vegan food, organic vegan food, just food, mostly raw, but not entirely raw. They'll often start you with like a vegan diet with, rice and cooked food like beans, and then slowly withdraw you to just fruit. And then from fruit, you'll transition to water. The whole process can take, anywhere from 10 days to 40 days, but they will slowly withdraw you from food. And then you would enter into what's called the pure water fast. So they slowly withdraw you from eating. And then you may go 5 days, 10 days, 40 days. And then the fast ends with a refeeding, usually with something easy to digest, the stomach and the digestive system or the alimentary system is actually stronger as a fast because you've given your intestines and your body time to clean itself out and repair the damage from being overfed. But usually people return back to eating with something like melons or something like that. So that process of healing our lives can be very difficult. And I have led people through this process in their homes because not everybody can afford to go to True North. And so we help people. Now, there's different ways you can do it. You can do it as 10 days where, say, we have you on a vegan diet for 5 days, and then we transition you to less and less food. And then you may want to do pure water for 3 days. It's different depending upon what your level of illness is. Right now, a lot of people are going on Ozempic for extreme obesity, and your health can improve on Ozempic, but it also comes with side effects. One of the intestinal blockages and people having to have surgery for intestinal blockages is one of the side effects of Ozempic. I think if people can commit to doing nothing, which is the first principle of naturopathic medicine, to begin to pull back from the things of your life that have made you ill in the first place, then you will do much to heal your life simply by doing nothing. And it starts with being very selective about your social media and your personal relationships. You know, what we take in a day, right? The other thing is that there's been some evidence that too much stimulation by electronics can have a negative impact. You know, sleeping, I sleep sometimes with my electronics in my bed. Yeah. So the other thing that we do is water. So we do nothing, we start removing the things that are making you sick, and then we try to get you to drink pure water. Pure water. Hot water in the morning, right? The Chinese medicine, they say the water should be warm or hot in the morning to scrub the vessel. To scrub the vessel, right? So your stomach and your alimentary system is working all day, and all day long it's got food in it, work, 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 work. So we start the day with water, with warm or hot water to scrub the vessel. And if you can go a couple of hours between scrubbing the vessel, say you wake up at 7 or 8 in the morning, and then you drink just hot water. And then when your stomach wakes up, you can think about breaking your fast, which may be at 11 a.m. in ashram or in a Buddhist temple. If you are a nun or a monk, we usually don't eat until 11 a.m. And then second meal is at 5 p.m. So what will sometimes happen if you're living the monastic life, and these people live past 100, many of these old nuns, what are they doing right? So it's based on this idea of doing nothing, of reducing how much food we consume, reducing how much stimulation we have coming in that could be toxic to our system, our internal system. So you would have the hot water. Say you're waking up to do your mantras at 3:30 in the morning or 5:30 in the morning, depending upon when you begin your mantras or begin your day. And then when you begin to have a desire for something, they traditionally will have a milk tea, if you can tolerate milk. If not, you can do a vegan tea. A butter tea is traditionally done in Tibet. And this is to introduce something into your system that's gentle. So a couple of hours, you wake up, you drink your water. I had my waters, right? I had a couple different waters when I woke up and did my and then I did my mantras, my temple, my prayers are back here behind my green screen is where I keep uh, my personal temple, right? Is behind here. A place where you can meditate and journal. Journaling can be really important. We're just talking, if you just joined us, about the basic principles of naturopathic medicine. I'm a naturopathic doctor, and I'm just sharing some of what I did to heal myself based on naturopathic principles. So yeah, if coffee is your thing, as it is mine, as I am a Westerner, I tend to prefer coffee, and so I'm having some milk coffee. Coconut sugar has a lower glycemic index if you want to have a little coconut sugar. It's 15 calories per teaspoon. So with a little milk and a couple teaspoons of coconut sugar, you're only having about 50 kcal, and you're having a very nice cup of coffee. Cheers. Now, if I was in Tibet, I would be having some butter tea, right? Get my blood pressure up, get a little fat in my system, and it's the same. I get a little caffeine. Yeah, and then you're starting your day, you're cleaning up, you're doing you've done your mantras already, so then usually you have your personal task on ashram, and that means, like, say my job is to go to the kitchen and help prep the meal for breakfast or clean the gardens. My job was kitchen work. I was the chef. And so I took it very seriously. I had to feed all these ashram people, right? So that was my tradition. I would get up early, I would do my mantras, have my hot water, do a little yoga, self-care, and then go to the kitchen and begin to prep the meals, right? So, and then at 11 a.m., you would have a vegetarian meal. Now, this was interesting because different ashrams have different traditions, but I have actually been on some ashrams where they had animal products for people who had medical conditions, and I thought that was really cool. So sometimes if you're in East India or places like this, they will have fish available, and then there'll be a notice saying, for medical reasons, well, I think everybody benefits from fish because of the omega-3s. And so there is this idea for medical reasons. We usually want to see people have 3 fish meals a week to reduce heart disease. So to reduce heart disease, diabetes, etc., we're talking about 2 meals, being comfortable with fasting in slowly adjusting to fasting, and this idea of increasing omega-3s in your diet, increasing omega-3s. Stretching in the morning or yoga or something like that is going to also help your circulatory system, particularly if you've been sleeping and you haven't been physically moving. It's a good idea to do some stretches before you have that hot water. So that, excuse me. So that's the principle, the first principle of naturopathic medicine. And I think that what happened to me, I know what happened to me was that I wasn't practicing medicine. I wasn't being true to myself. I was traveling too much. I was eating bad food. I was watching too much social media that was negative. Smoking marijuana, which is not good for me. It was briefly, right? You know, sometimes you can do those things if you're going through therapy or whatnot. But I personally, I would like my body to be as clean as possible and not have toxins in it. For me, caffeine, like even coffee, can be too coffee and salt. We've talked about salt in the past. That salt is extremely restrictive, and this is why in Chinese medicine we talk about reducing too much salt or sodium, because like red meat, it's considered very restrictive. It can cause tension in the body, hypertension, and that can cause emotional distress. In the Ayurvedic or traditional, excuse me, Indian view, it's called pitta. And pitta can create too much heat and stress in the body. And so when we think about pitta aggravation, we're talking about somebody who has an aggravation of too much heat. And salt is certainly something that can cause too much heat. Another can be too much oil in your diet. So we want to reduce too much oil and we want to reduce too much salt. The worst kind of fat is animal fat. So too much animal fat and too much salt is associated with increased risk of coronary artery disease, narrowing of the arteries. And so by reducing oil and fat, we help clear our arteries. One of the principles that I talk to people a lot about in naturopathic medicine is this idea of flow. We want everything to flow, to be healed, to be healthy. Are you experiencing flow? What are some of the ways in which we see a restriction of flow? We know that a person is having a problem with flow if they cannot touch their toes. Can you touch your toes? Can you stretch? Can you sit in partial lotus like I am comfortably? Is the chi coming from the top to the bottom? That flow. Now, Tai Chi can help with flow, right? So the first principle of naturopathic medicine is to do nothing. The second is that, so we're pulling back from the things that are toxic in our life and we're looking at possibly fasting. And then the second is that your food shall be your medicine. So now we're talking about bringing things back in. After we've removed everything for a period, say you went through a withdrawal of food, starting with an organic vegan diet, say quinoa, black beans, steamed vegetables, maybe start with a bowl of fruit. You can eat like that for a couple of days. And then we reduce the rice and beans and we just have you on vegetables and fruit. And then we have you on fruit, only melon, slowly pulling back, and then just water, just water. And then removing social media and just sit like that beautiful lioness that you are by the river and just let yourself receive the healing of nature. Trust your own power. Trust your own strength. Right? I should mention that actually the second is actually hydrotherapy. Hydrotherapy is being treated with water. So that would be ice cold showers, alternating hot and cold to get the circulation going, will help your body's own nervous system, endocrine system, etc., heal itself. So water therapy is actually number 2. I was wrong about that. So now you're using the water to heal it yourself. You're at a watering hole, right? So you're plunging into that icy water. You're warming yourself up with warm, hot water and then plunging, and you're getting your whole circulatory system. So the second is hydrotherapy. And then the third is your diet. Then you come out of that experience, right? And now you clean up your diet and you say, no more junk food, right? Now is the time to heal my life, like Whimsy's allergy. I'm going to have to start a cleanse because, I'm getting too much of a histamine reaction to my cat, right? So part of that means that I have to look at my diet. This chronic, right? I love dairy, but I know that during my cleanse, I'll probably have to put dairy aside, right? Which is difficult for me because I'm an Anderson, right? I'm part Northern European, right? We live on dairy. But this chronic nasal drip that I get from my cat, I think dairy worsens it. So we clean up people's diet. We put them on a pescatarian diet. I do not put people on a vegan diet unless they want to be vegan. And that, again, has to do with this, excuse me, this idea. It's my cat. It's this idea of the heart health. Now, if you don't want to have animal products, then we recommend flax, chia, and hemp for omega. Yeah, my favorite snack, which is, I was in Sweden, and oat cakes, yogurt, and fruit is the ancestral diet. They would harvest wild grains. They would harvest wild grains, right? And then soak the wild grains, and then they would milk their cattle because they were pastoralist. And whatever fruits grew in the north, muesli, right? How do you digest muesli? It's hard to digest. So what would they do to get it to digest if they didn't necessarily have access to fire? So what did you do? You take the yogurt. This is the traditional way to do it. And the bacteria in the yogurt, you roll the oats in the yogurt, maybe with a little wild honey and fruit, and you let it sit. And then it hardens into a ball, and the bacteria, the lactobacilli, digest the sugars and break down the oats. And then as you worked and took care of the animals, a couple hours later you would eat the oats, and the oats were easy to digest because they had been broken down by the lactobacilli and bacteria in the yogurts. So in a way, it's cooked. It was cooked by the yogurt. Also, the yogurt contained less lactose because the lactobacilli had eaten the sugar, and that's why yogurt is sour. So, excuse me. So if you had intolerance to lactose, you would be able to tolerate yogurt. So, getting on to the story. We've now cleaned up your diet. You've removed the cause, and we've got you fasting, and now we've introduced hydrotherapy and a clean diet. Now, what's the next thing we're going to do? Are you cured? Massage and physical therapy can be helpful. Hi, how you doing? I wanted to also point out that when we talk about do nothing, this is a great time for you to learn how to breathe, right? Especially now when I've got this upper respiratory thing going on, right? Is you want to make sure you're breathing. And so a lot of the time, one of the first things people will learn is how to breathe. When we talk about doing nothing, just breathe. Breathe. getting your circulation up and running, right? So to do nothing, just breathe and rest. And number 2, do hydrotherapy, water therapy. Have your food be your medicine. Change your diet, right? And 4, physical therapy can be massage, rolfing. You know, my friend Frances and I, we like to travel together. And she and I always take care of ourselves when we travel because we know how important it is. And so she and I always make sure when we're traveling to get a good, excuse me, massage every couple of days. I'm going to remove this because I think this might be part of the problem. Yeah, so physical therapy. Now, some people consider that part of hydrotherapy is just to milk the, you know what it is? You guys really want to know the truth? I am like a little kid and I don't want to drink the medicine. I have 400 herbs in my home because I'm a naturopathic doctor. And so the cure is there and I have to just drink it. And I'd rather have a cup of Earl Grey tea. And so I am very childish about my own health. I have the cure right here. I have nettle tea. I have yerba santa. I've got lung supportive herbs, but I don't like the taste. I'd rather have a PG Tibbs, right? So Yorkshire Gold, that's what I have right now. So I'm like you folks. I have my weaknesses, right? Yeah, so that is what you do. You just keep adding more and more. You remove everything and then you replace it with the good. I was going to say number 5 is the medicine. This is when it's the 5th thing we do is we introduce the medicine. Yeah. So the medicine is my 400 herbs, right? So when I have a patient that comes into my office, I do telework like this. This is how we communicate. I listen to what the condition is, and then I break it into categories. For example, one of the things that I get a lot of patients coming in is about fatigue. And there's different reasons why fatigue can happen. If the blood work comes back normal, we could be looking at sleep apnea. You know, their sleep is not restful. And so we have to focus on fatigue. And I will often give them some adrenal supportive herbs. And those are like ginseng, erythrococcus, Siberian ginseng, and also some of the holy basil can be very calming. It's calming, but it's also a great thing to combine when you're doing the adaptogenic herbs. Schisandra, rhodiola, these are often the herbs we use to help with fatigue. If it's a case of depression with fatigue, I will always put in holy basil because holy basil is used for internal trauma. It doesn't taste bad. It's just that I'm a spoiled kid, you know. I'm very spoiled, Leah, and I have to be an adult. And I'll do it today. I will make my cure and I will drink it. You know, it's very hard when you're a doctor to be the patient because, like when I got the norovirus in Stockholm, I had an obstruction, right? As soon as the water got to my stomach, I vomited, right? So I couldn't get water down. So, but thank God my brain was okay. And I said, you know what, this is weird. I am a physician. I have got to diagnose myself. Do I need to be transferred to hospital? You know, use your head, because they were ready to send me to the hospital. And so I was checking to see if I was dehydrated. It's like, okay, I'm not dehydrated. So what's happening right now? Okay, just drink water, right? Do nothing, drink water, okay? Um, if on the third day, if after 2 days I can't get water in and I start showing signs of dehydration, then I'm going into the hospital. But we begin to start absorbing water after 5 minutes. So some of the water is getting in because I didn't see any signs of advanced dehydration. Sure enough. And then I listened to my higher voice, and my higher voice said, "You're very strong." I started channeling Wim Hof. If you guys really want to know what the truth is, you really want to know what I did, I went into HCRV mode and I said, "I need help. I'm sick. Which healer do I want to go to?" And so I channeled Wim Hof and I said, "Here's my situation, Wim Hof. Can you help me?" So the Iceman showed up, his higher soul, and I was in he says, "You're very strong. You're very strong. You will pass this obstruction. Just keep drinking cold water and get into the ice." And so he was with me in spirit for 2 days, and I had his book. And so I just kept listening to his advice. And then I kept sitting in the ice. There were ice buckets, and I was just pouring ice all over me and just sitting in the ice. Sure enough, after 48 hours, my energy bounced back. And I just listened to Wim Hof. I just did exactly what he said. I did the breathing exercises and the cold therapy, which is based on naturopathic medicine. Do nothing, learn to breathe. Water therapy, just water. And then I felt so much better. And he kept saying, "You're fine. You're strong. You're strong. You're not fragile, Whimsy. You're quite a strong, healthy woman. Why don't you just turn this into a water fast? You know, you could afford to lose 5 pounds, right? We've got to stop perceiving of ourselves as weak." And I said, this guy's right. So I went 5 days with no food, just water. And I felt I was crying and having spiritual awakenings. I was singing, "We've come this far by faith." These were spiritual healings I was having, right? And so with gratitude, I received all those beautiful spiritual lessons from Wim Hof, and I was able to use the medicine. I must have taken to it really well, because he has this slowly get used to the ice. Well, this morning I filled my bathtub with cold water, and then I had a massive amount of ice I made in my freezer, and I poured that in to my bathtub. And I remembered him saying, "Control your mind and observe the sensations, but you're in control." Well, I can do that. I'm a remote viewer. And it was so easy. And I just was like, okay, this is a little bit of an unpleasant feeling, but my body will adjust. And then I just slowly got deeper and deeper into it and poured all the ice over me. It's like, you know what? This is not bad. There's so much heat in my belly, from the infection that I had produced so much. The immune system, or the triple heater, is in your belly, and it burns, right? So a lot of I apologize for all the anger I was releasing. I felt like I should almost take that down, but I was expelling. It was like I was expelling demons when I did this therapy. It changed my life. It changed my life, Wim Hof. And I'm probably going to go and do a conference with him. I'm probably going to find out where these are, and because I have to meet him. I just think he's amazing. Whimsy and Wim. What do you think? Right? Great guy, beautiful person. He's broken so many world records. Mind over matter. Learn how to breathe. What it does is it pushes your own immune system, and it also heals you from psychological trauma. The soul within. Now, we think of the soul as being in the core, right? It sits like an egg, the soul. Yes? The soul sits like an egg, right? Hands of Light talks about this. This is one of the classes that we teach. And we talk in, when we teach on the lectures of Hands of Light, we talk about the I can never say, the core star, right? And the core star is where the soul resides. And it's very closely connected with the triple heater in Chinese medicine, what we think about as the core star. And the core star is where the soul resides. I don't know. Let's see, core star. Let me see if I can get an image. Here, this is a good image. Okay. So this is something we teach at Heart-Centered Remote Viewing, this is the core star. And you see that warm part of the belly, and how we're often in remote viewing, we try to teach you to connect with the core star. This is your gut. This is yourself. When you die, and we will all die, we are born to die. Don't be afraid. It's nothing spooky is going to happen. It will detach from your avatar, right? And you see the energy of the hara. You will exit through the back of the head. You can see here. We come in through here and we exit with the core star. We are grounded in the core star. Our soul resides in the core star. And we exit through the top of the head. And when we leave the body, it's like the lights going out boop, of a Christmas tree, boop, 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 as we pop out and we leave the body. We have different soul aspects. The seventh being this beautiful golden light. And when we call on white light protection for ourselves and our community, we are placing ourselves in this shield of protection. Many of you are patients and have come to me for readings. I never go into someone's Akashic field until I have protected myself and them. And we do that through the empath's prayer. But this is you right here. This is your true essence connected to the physical body right here. And if I can get you to focus on that area as you meditate, this is your kundalini, this is your root. This is keeping you connected to, you're like a plant connected to Gaia, to the earth, through this core star, and that kundalini comes up. And then here is your gut energy right over here. Here's the intellect, the heart, the throat chakra, which we've talked about when I have remote viewed slaves. I wanted to know how it felt to be a slave. You asked me to become Sally Hemings. And so I went into a deep trance and I connected with her higher soul. And I became Sally Hemings. And the fifth chakra was completely undeveloped. I wasn't able to make many words because I wasn't allowed to speak. And that was my experience of being a slave, was an undeveloped fifth chakra, how it felt inside my body to be a slave. The luxury, some people grow up like that. They may have an abusive parent that doesn't allow them to speak, and they become afraid of speaking because they have an abusive parent. And then they grow up never being allowed to speak, right? Wim Hof technique, he shows you the most extreme, but you don't, it's actually based on your own tolerance. For example, he says you may only be able to tolerate a cold shower for 30 seconds. So you'd have your regular hot shower and then switch it to cold and then try and just go in and rinse yourself off for 30 seconds. And what that does is it's going to bring new blood flow to the skin and help with the detoxification process. You don't have to be as extreme as him. He's an Olympic athlete. He's broken world records for being able to sit for an hour in ice. So he doesn't expect you to be like him. If you actually read the book, 30 seconds of a rinse off for most people is just fine. And just learning how to breathe. For me, because I want to do deep healing, I was, doing things that are, more intense. So that is basically naturopathic medicine. So the herbs is, after you've done all the other stuff, we include herbs, and then you may also get supplements. But I don't like to give a lot of supplements because I think it's a waste of money, a lot of it. The herbs are included in your treatment. You don't have to pay for them. If you're paying to see me, you're getting your herbs. I include them. Doing nothing is plenty, right? Doing nothing, meditating, examining your thoughts, trying to remove toxic imagery, cleaning up your diet as best you can. These things are more than enough for most people to take on. Hydrotherapy can be fun, but it can also be horrible. Like if you've ever been to experienced hydrotherapy, it feels good when they're putting warm, hot blankets and warm moisture all. It's hot and it's like, that's so pleasant. And then they take it off and it's like ice. You always get a good laugh. But if you can tolerate it, it does great things for your immune system. Tandan is the belly. Yes, very good. So that's what I wanted to share, is talking a little bit about naturopathy. I think my cough will probably be gone tomorrow because you guys have motivated me to take the medicine. I know, but this is so much more pleasant. A nice cup of coffee? Come on. Would you rather do coffee or Chinese medical broth? Come on, be honest. Be honest. All right, I wanted to announce that we have a really cool book, The Love of Tyami, T.A. McLaughlin. This book is so dang good. You know why I like this book? I'm getting really interested in artificial intelligence. And, people that want to go to Mars, like Elon Musk, but I don't think his thing is as practical as the space stations and floating cities. Based on research, the floating cities are going to come first. And that's such a great idea. If ever there's an emergency in Earth, this is affordable. We can all just get into space stations, right? That's more practical than flying people off to Mars in the event of an emergency, right? And they're just large, they're large, massive drone systems that rotate the Earth. And the day will come when it will be affordable. So say, for example, a mega volcano or something, or an asteroid is going to hit. People would simply get into shuttles and just go and stay in space stations, because they would already be set up, and you wouldn't have to fly somewhere to another planet. They can be self-sustaining stations that just get you off of Earth. Doesn't have to be we don't have to, it's impractical for us to go to another planet. What's more practical is for us to create living conditions in space stations that have their own recycled water. If you're recycling the water, if you have then that would reduce how much water you need. Anyway, so she gets into a lot of what the future world will be. And how we get there, and what does cyborgs and bots. Oh my God, it's so interesting because it's probably going to happen. And how religion changes, and how beliefs of the world change, and how we have different authorities, central authorities, and how do you control people when, it's probably going to be the corporations, right? If a corporation owns the space station, anyway, it's really good stuff. She's a great writer. I find it absolute. Yeah, I think Elon is not, I think that's great if he wants to go to Mars, but there's not enough water to sustain life. It would be better to create a space station with circulatory water supply, where we could control the ecosystems, and then in the event of emergency, we can shuttle large populations rather than a ship taking us all the way to Mars and starting from. It doesn't make any sense when we can create a biosphere for a lot less money in floating cities all over the world. In fact, it's so practical. And once we get the fuel technology, the fuel cells, it will happen very quickly. And the other cool thing about the fuel cells is that each drone piece will have its own fuel cell. And you can just keep adding more and more rooms to the drone until you have a drone the size of Manhattan. And it will eventually be affordable. And you can just buy a condo there, float around the earth, and then take a shuttle down to Paris, or take a shuttle down to, depending upon where you're at. If it's slowly rotating the earth, depending upon its rotation pattern, and that's the future condo. For sure it's going to happen. We're almost there. Look at the size of drones now, and military drones they're using for cargo shipping, which is going to completely revolutionize trade routes. The trade route thing is so stupid because everything's going to be transferred by drones. I mean, people will be shooting down each other's drones, maybe. Oh, you entered my space, right? But it's a new way of looking at trade routes. All of that is discussed in this book. What will that future world look like? So this is the first in the series, if you love this stuff as much as I do, and I'm totally into this. And then her second book, which I'm still on this one, but I will be reading the second book also because I'm totally into this, The Judgment of Self. With male-female relationships, bots, artificial intelligence, cyborgs. It's all happening. I mean, crippled people are going to be able to walk. Communication through telepathy, through Neuralink. That stuff is awesome. Neuralink, you should see. Siobhan Zillis is a woman from Yale. It's her creation. It's not Elon Musk's creation. He's just one of the people funding it. But she's a genius. She's a genius, Siobhan. I really admire her. So, yeah, she figured out a way to bypass. If you're paralyzed, it will go past the paralyzed, and then so that you'll be able to walk. You can now use your computer even if you're paralyzed just by thinking, and that causes the muscles to send the message. So you're talking to people, you're writing letters, you're playing games. I mean, what a blessing to people who are severely disabled. Take Trump away. Anyway, so that is our book. I really hope you'll check it out. Great to support our readers. I'm sorry about I'm sorry about my allergy. I do have quite a bad allergy to my cat, and it does cause a cough, which I know it's annoying, and I apologize. So I will start taking the herbal tea. I will. Ares Primus is the international airport on Mars where the space station is. Oh, I think it's such a waste because we don't have enough water on Mars to sustain life, and it's just completely I mean, sure, colonize it someday, but space stations are more practical. And the moon. I think the moon, and I don't know about Neuralink being a dinosaur. I think it's absolutely incredible. Check out the lecture by Siobhan Zillis showing uh, it goes right into the cortex, the motor cortex. And so when you tell your arm raise, that's your motor cortex. You're telling your motor cortex to do something. So that is still there. It's just that your arms can't be raised. So if the if the Neuralink is connecting to the nerves, bypassing what is severed, then you'll be able it'll just work as nerve fibers. It'll bypass the injury, and then you'll be back to it's just I have so much admiration for what they're doing. And now a second quadriplegic has been given the Neuralink, and both patients are doing great, and they say it's given them their life back. It's funny, the first person to get Neuralink who was hooked to his computer, they said, well, what have you been doing? He was playing this video game. I don't know what it was, if it was Halo or and his score is like really high, like higher than the other people he's playing. And for like 12 hours, he was just playing video games because he could. And I just think that's righteous, man. He has the right to be happy. And thank God the science is there to give him this wonderful thing. And all praise to the amazing Siobhan Zillis, right? I'm really getting tired of her investor taking the credit for her research, but you know how certain people are, ego, right? We all have ego, but yeah, that's Siobhan Zillis. She is a remarkable woman. Remarkable woman. Anyway, did you guys want to do some blitzes? What do you guys feel like doing today? You guys want to do the empath's prayer? I just wanted to come on and talk a little bit about naturopathic medicine and my aversion to taking the medicine. I don't want to, but look, if I can't do it, how can I expect my patients to do it? So I'll be a good girl and I will take my medicine. But yeah, I was saying that when I do my herbs, I usually try to break down what are the problems that the individual is having. If it's fatigue, then I will focus on the adrenals. I do want to get lab work because fatigue could be a chronic infection. It could be leukemia. It could be adrenal fatigue. It could be that the person simply isn't sleeping. It could be shallow breathing, not getting enough oxygen. It could be depression. So it's always important to get labs. Naturopathic doctors actually believe in labs. We need to know what's going on in your body. Yeah. Okay, I got an order to blitz away. Well, Critter, I can't disappoint you. And I got a yes, please from Wendy. So let's go ahead. And since you know the prayer, let's put out some good energy to the universe. And let's do the empath's prayer. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say, Amen. All right. That was good. That was a nice prayer. Oh, that would be nice if we had a moon base. I think that's a great idea. I think we should try and save this planet. I think that we've got to come up with the science of taking care of, I'm nervous about some of this stuff. Like, let's talk about mega volcanoes. You guys have asked me about the mega volcanoes. What's also cool about the mega volcanoes is that we're seeing UFOs entering and exiting. Have you guys seen this crazy stuff? Have you guys seen the film footage of UFOs coming and going from, we don't know what they are. It is real. It is a real phenomenon, but we don't know what we're looking at. And their craft that are entering and exiting. Let me see if I can find some of what I'm talking about. Here's an example of, I'll go ahead and I'll show it to you. This was really Chaos Mugle. Hope I pronounced his name right. Chaos Mugle is a professional film editor, and he's asked to determine whether or not something is real. Here is a craft coming out of a volcano. So this is how we can use artificial intelligence to enhance an image, because this image actually was not visible. You can see the volcano here, and it has just come out.
It's on the ship.
Now, in just a minute, I'm going to take this AI enhanced photo and I'm going to put it in AI to enhance it again.
Again, yes.
Difference in quality. That
yes,
is clearly
double AI, baby. Enhance the hell out of it.
Something bluish on the left side is kind of intriguing, and there seems to be two dark round openings, one on the right, one on the center.
I definitely see the one on the center right here.
Well, that's kind of interesting, but I want to take that enhanced one and drop it in again so that we can see the difference. Now, this is the AI enhanced one. See, this is before and after.
Look at that. Look at the level of detail we gained from that double enhancement. And look at that opening. He wasn't joking about that. That really looks like an opening. On the right, this dark side here, that could be an opening. It's too dark and not detailed enough to tell, but this looks like an opening. And this blue side looks so interesting.
Enhanced twice. Enhanced once. Enhanced twice. You could see there's
And when he does the enhanced twice, I think of when you go to the optometrist and you're like, no, a 1 or 2.
Six-sided door on one side. It looks like at the front also.
Yeah,
and look at that blue object, the blue covering on the left side top of the disc.
That's so weird.
Guys, this is just mind-blowing. That's
so
really
cool.
Great evidence that aliens exist and that they're using the Colima volcano and the other volcano over there as entrances to an underground base because they're active volcanoes.
So it's real. According to Mughal, who is a filmmaker and editor, and he verifies, is this legitimate or not, and so his job is to debunk these things. And what's interesting about these crafts that we see is that they're going into these incredibly hot volcanoes, and how do they, the protection of the craft. It's kind of like when we have re-entry. You think about the fact that humans have craft that can burn up on re-entry, but they have to have special tiles. And so what this has is it appears to have some kind of special tiles similar to the kinds of craft that can burn up on reentry. And I think what we're just seeing is we're seeing some of the smoke and the heat coming off the craft because it's just come out of lava, etc. And it could be that's part of the heat, etc., coming off the craft. So you can imagine that this craft was built in a way where it was able to survive extreme heat. Yeah. So, it's interesting. Does he do, that's interesting. Does he do an infrared afterwards? We can go ahead. The shots themselves are pretty impressive. Now, Mughal is not saying it's an alien.
Probes or these drones? Like, what is going on, y'all? I'm sorry. Why? I'm freaking out ahead of time because I've seen this clip. Y'all need to watch this.
And he released it in
Look at this.
2020 on Instagram.
This is the video,
and he talked about it many times. And he said over and over
Watch
again,
it drop this thing.
I got personal information, personal videos, footage, files from government sources of actual UFOs, and I'm holding them back, but I won't for long, he said. So is this one of them? Is this one of those objects? So I put it through an AI.
But bro, you can put it through AI all you want. That's fine. What do you mean you just crop that out over my planet? What is that?
To focus
and
it
you're not going to tell
and
me. Y'all are not going to tell me that don't look like that.
Viewer to
it's going to happen again.
Focus it better. And it was kind of mind-boggling what I saw.
I think you're doing, you could Scott, I don't know if you're going to see this, but he's tagged in the description below. You're doing a great job. I love the AI tools you're using. This is fantastic.
This orb coming out of this craft.
Yes, like what the hell?
By AI.
Look at that.
It looks.
You're not going to tell me, y'all, I don't want to be, you're not going to tell me it don't look like the damn UFOs coming over and pooping on us. Look at that.
But when it's focused by AI, it looks bizarre.
Bro.
Now here it is, focused by AI, and this is normal again. AI.
Look at that.
Normal.
Look at that. Do you see like that?
And you could really see right there that
like
there's
that
some
texture.
Kind of, the orb itself has a giant eyeball kind of lens or something on top. And maybe that's the attachment to the UFO itself.
Yeah.
So it could be a UFO. It could be a government drone that is experimenting with, the government is experimenting with different drones that can be used to drop off, say, emergency aid in Gaza or something. And so we could just be seeing an experiment where they're attempting to drop a load and it's nothing more than a bag of rocks. For all we know, it's just a government experiment with a new type of military drone. He felt like there are things about it which don't look like a drone.
I don't know. I feel like these are weird.
So come out of this UFO, unless both of them are like drones and there's no real pilots. But look at this; it's all spiky and everything.
This is why I said that there might be pros and cons to it. I love this. I love that we're getting these enhancements. I think this looks fantastic. I think Scott's doing a fantastic job. But remember that AI enhancements, while AI is getting much better every single day and definitely improving, it might add things when it might add details that aren't there when it doesn't.
Yeah, so I mean, basically what I see is potentially a military drone that is doing an experiment. It could be a top secret type of drone that is potentially experimenting and dropping bales, maybe in a war zone if you've got to get supplies in. A stealth drone can go in and can drop aid, supplies, etc. And it could just be a military experiment. But these are exciting shots, and it's kind of exciting to see how much we're able to enhance and zoom in and see things that we couldn't see before. And it's also interesting that we have pictures of UFOs going back, 100 years. And so now with these new technologies, will be able to take those. Yeah, there's supposedly UFO pictures that accidentally showed up in the middle of Civil War photos, etc. So to be able to enhance those old photos with this new AI technology, we're going to be able to see some pretty amazing things from these old images. Very exciting, isn't it? So the conversation about the UFOs going into these active volcanoes, people had said, that the aliens will not, some people believe that aliens will not allow us to destroy the earth because, in fact, nuclear weapons have been shut down by UFOs, and that's been documented, that something is interrupting our nuclear weapons technology. This has been documented. Believe it or not, it was documented by John McCain. He was the person that got benefits for people who had been injured, actually, abductees that had been injured. So crazy stuff has happened on nuclear bases, both in the United States and outside the United States. The issue of whether or not they are also being seen in mega volcanoes that are at risk of going off. Now, what do we know about mega volcanoes? We know that if a mega volcano goes off, it's like a nuclear war, right? What happens when a mega volcano goes off? It can result in something called a nuclear winter, right? So if you're looking at when Etna went off, when did Etna go off? Was it Mount Etna? How do you say that? Mount Etna, yes. 11,000 feet above eruption. Was that in 3rd century? Or was it the 6th century? The timeline of Etna eruptions. Yeah, there's a few of them, weren't there? History. What was it? Pompeii, right? Pompeii. So I think that took place. We know from tree rings, right? We've analyzed tree rings. We've talked about tree rings, and we've talked about the fact that this is why trees in the Tarot were used as symbols of time, because time is stored in the tree. It just blows my mind that we can see time stored in a tree through the tree rings. And when we had the nuclear winter from, I think it was the 3rd or the 6th, 325 AD, was that one? No, it happened right around then. Oh, Vesuvius, thank you. Mount Vesuvius, you're amazing. You guys are amazing. Mount Vesuvius eruption. 79 AD. It led to basically a nuclear winter. And a nuclear winter meant that a large part of the earth was covered in ash. And as a result of the earth being covered in ash, darkness happened, and no crops grew, and no sunlight. And so when we look at the tree rings from that time period in dendrochronology, we see that they're very closely together from lack of water, etc., because they've literally gone through a nuclear winter. And so these volcanoes can have just as much damage as an atomic bomb going off. So one of the theories is that just as the aliens are monitoring our nuclear capacities, they're also monitoring our megavolcanoes. Is that wild? What do y'all think about that theory? It makes sense to me. Like, why else would they be hanging out, floating around? Like the volcano they were flying in and out of the volcano in, excuse me. They were flying out of the volcano in Iceland. They had film footage of them flying in Iceland, Shasta. They're flying in and out of Shasta. So it's not just one mega volcano. I can't think of any other explanation. We don't have human craft that can do that. One theory is that it's our future selves doing something to prevent catastrophes that may have happened. Let's take a look. Spirit can tell us anything about the UFOs that are coming out of the megavolcanoes. Is it us? Are we the alien? Are we just in a time loop? They are defenders of the land. 7 of Wands is to defend the land. 7 of Wands is to defend and protect. You can see the water protector also. No one's going to touch that land. No one's going to touch that water. This is a war. A war card is the Knight of Wands running quickly to defend the land. So whatever they are, they appear to be running to defend the land. If we were just to have a straight answer, this is a war king and it's very active. And this is a defender of land. It's to defend one's territory. There are different theories. For example, the aliens are us and we are the aliens, right? It's something. They're now speaking in Congress about this, right? So things are changing. We're now in Congress acknowledging these phenomena. But why are they going into the volcanoes? According to the cards, if you're just reading straight, to defend and protect one's territory. And a Knight of Wands is an aggressive war card. So it's like a war. We have to protect this area. The immediate environment, smoother waters lay ahead for the next 6 years. That's very interesting. It could be indicating that they're doing something to reduce the pressure in these mega volcanoes to guarantee safety going forward. 6 of Swords. I read swords sometimes as years, and smoother waters lay ahead for the next 6 years. A lot of people don't like this card if they just want to die. Like occasionally people get depressed and like, I don't want to live anymore. I'm so depressed. And then I have to remind them that they're just going through a phase and that this too shall pass. I was feeling that way 2 weeks ago. Like, I was like, what the hell am I doing? I mean, my life is fantastic. What the heck? It's just hormones or having the flu or whatever. There's always hope and there's always beauty in the world. Even in the worst of days, the sun still comes up. A cat is still waiting to be pet. A doggy is still wagging its tail. Look for the beauty and the good. It's not all doom and gloom, right? There's good news happening in the world. Waltz is our VP, right? Good news, right? Good news. It's good news. Not everything is bad news. The bad people are getting taken care of, right? Good news lays ahead. 6 years of smooth water. I had a client come in that really was thinking that, okay, things are going to get bad now, right? And the cards were saying, well, actually, you've got a great constitution. If you'd be more disciplined with your health, we can guarantee you a good, solid, healthy 6 years. And then we can address this in another 6 years. But really, if you just practice naturopathic principles, you could really bounce back. It was almost like the person was disappointed with the reading. Like, you mean I'm going to be out working and physically active? But it's like she wanted to give herself permission to quit. Well, if you want to quit, you can quit, but understand that you are not a victim. You have decided to quit the earth. You don't want to do it anymore. That's cool. But understand that the power lies with you. You can either quit or clean up your mess. If you clean up your mess, healthy and happy, at least another 6 years. So it's an indication that whoever these beings are, whether it's us from the future, which I think makes a lot of sense. I think we will conquer time travel. I think it's cool as heck, you know? It's also interesting if you look at the interview between Elon Musk and his mentee. Can't remember his name. He's from Russia. He's also a brilliant. He took ayahuasca. He took 9 cups of ayahuasca, and he said that he saw that there was life was teeming in the universe, and that it all came from a central source, God. And I thought that was so cool that scientists are able to have these conversations. But it could be both. It could be us and them, and it is our future selves coming back. It is a sound and good thing. The judgment is good. So this thing that is happening with UFOs over Mount Shasta, like, we don't have to be frightened of it because it is something that is good. It was a judgment or a decision. I think it's to prevent eruptions. I think that that's why they're doing it. In the past, there was grief. So it has a desire to create a stable situation. They're trying to stabilize it. Look, in the past, 10 of Swords and grief. This is like Pompeii. So maybe there's a feeling here from our future selves, we don't want to have that happen again. Or from aliens, we can't allow this to happen again. Isn't that fascinating? There's a warning here that if humans do not change their basic behavior, it will be very hard to help them. Humans must be co-creators of the good. We have to take responsibility for our own part in things becoming toxic, our own internal toxicity, how it can impact the rest of the world. A time of abundance. 7 of Pentacles is also my card of the green economy. There's kind of this urgency to move towards the green. Remember, in the green economy, the purpose is to replenish and care for Gaia. The more we love her, the more she loves us. And so it's a very different view of the economy. We don't have to rape, torture, and destroy the earth. We nurture her, and then she takes care of our basic needs. So we nurture the land, and it gives us our daily portion. And then the final outcome is the Knight of Cups, who comes on a white horse. So it's auspicious if it's straight up. Inverted, it can be a seducer. So they come in peace. They come in peace. It's not something bad that they are here. We may not understand it. It may scare us, but the peaceful chalice, you know what? I feel like I want to do a future reading of the earth. You guys want to do the future earth? Like, let's just go ahead and take a look at what's going to be happening economically in the future. Because I know people are really frightened about the economy and all these rich criminals that have taken over. If you've got more money than God, you got that money through theft. You know, crypto market is total corruption. I mean, it's just blatant theft, these honeypots and all this other corruption. What has happened to our world that we are not taking control of this? But let's look at the economy overall. We see civil war happening in Britain because people are angry and they don't know who to blame. Let's look at the U.S. economy first. Will the U.S. dollar survive? We'll do 4 cards. 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th of the Celtic Cross is a blitz. The American economy over the next few months. The Biden administration will be maximizing aid to the American people over the next few months. So the next 4 months, to override the damage in the event of a Trump presidency, we see a lot of social reform taking place, massive amounts of social programs. Six of Pentacles is the social, it's justice and care for those who need it. The opposition has the money. Biden is ignoring the opposition and focusing on what we can do. The hopes and fear is the businessman. And the final outcome for the U.S., a new beginning in the spring. Everything will be different if we get out the vote. If we don't vote, then Trump could win, right? This was why I was concerned about the Biden presidency, is that when we went forward, it showed Trump can win this thing. We have an aging chancellor. A lot of people were upset with my reading. A lot of people unsubscribed because they needed to believe that Biden was going to be reelected. And that puts a lot of stress on your remote viewer. You have to just let her or him tell you the remote, even if it's, I know it's upsetting. You guys want, a lot of you wanted Biden to run, but I had to tell the truth, right? And in the end, everything worked fine. Everything is doing just great. And if we vote, we're going to have our first female president. You can see here the 7th card, the immediate environment over the next couple months is, Biden is a great president and he's around great people. And we see this wonderful social welfare and the social programs, not welfare, but social aid, care for the needy, etc. And a nice magician card. I really feel America's going to pull itself out of this. I feel the wealthy are going to try and evade. They're always moving around, trying to move their money. We have a chariot over the money of the opposition. That could be moving the money, right? Hiding it in crypto, hiding it here, hiding it there. These crypto scams, right, that are all over social media, the honeypots. The hopes and fears is the star over the business or the business world. And we are entering into a new, a new phase, which is the Fool. One of the psychic predictions that has come up, that a lot of people have had a vision of, is that there will be safe havens for people. Safe havens for people who take pledges of nonviolence, who just want to work and agree to live in peace, and that these peaceful communities will be joined together by, electric car systems, etc. And sometimes even people we don't agree with come up with great ideas, and that's basically what Boring is going to do, Tesla and Boring. Because these these tunnels, you can travel, at speeds in your car of 100 miles or more in these tunnels. And we can see, what psychics are drawing is oasis zones. And people are able to consolidate land, too, into these areas and move away from the wilderness, which returns a lot of the land back to, it goes back into a healthy ecosystem. And instead, people concentrate into these oasis zones where they take pledges of nonviolence. And from that, we can build a beautiful world. And I believe that Mr. Musk and other scientists plan on creating these zones in space as well as floating cities based on pledges. And this is also how we will heal the Gaza-Israel border. And these are just visions that many visionaries, psychics are seeing. Safe zones. You'll be able to drive from here to Paris Avoid the crazy. Just stick to the road, right? People don't want to play by the Oasis rules. You kick them out. They go into exile. They may have a great life in exile. There's some great things that happen in exile, like Moses did some good things in exile. But the Oasis is for peacemakers. So that's kind of the future prediction, that people will move towards the Oasis. And even though I don't agree with everything, of course, that Mr. Musk does, the fact that he is a part of this vision is a good thing. Stock market is worried. Actually, the stock market went up after Tim Walz was selected. Yeah. Maglev. Who's Maglev? I don't know what Maglev is. All right, you got. I'm going to go take my medicine because I'm getting a chronic allergy. So I'm going to go make my Chinese tea. Yes, the joys of a cat allergy. A severe cat allergy. She means no harm. My cat loves me even if I have a horrific allergy to her. Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. Yeah, I got a hair in my mouth. It is what it is. All right. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you, too. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, check the information below. All right. We'll see you later, everyone. Take care and